T-R-E-B-L-E. The treble is on for Manchester City. They have defeated Real Madrid by 4-0. 4 goals against the reigning European champions. They demolished them. It was not close. It was an absolute shambles. And Real Madrid have been embarrassed by Manchester City today. They were sensational. Look at this attacking momentum bar. Look at it. It was absolutely unreal. There was no Madrid momentum until about the 40th minute. Absolutely crazy. We're going to be having a look at the players and talking about some individuals in just a moment. But before we do, please like the video and subscribe. It really would mean a lot to me. It helps with the algorithm and all of that good stuff. It only takes a second, so please just click that button, like the video and subscribe. Thank you. Right, now let's talk about the players, because Man City to a man were absolutely sensational. I was extremely impressed by the way that Kevin De Bruyne managed to drift inside and out, and what I mean by that is he swapped with Bernardo Silva on a couple of occasions, and it allowed Bernardo Silva to drift in field, and this stopped Camavinga from being able to follow those runs. It also meant that David Alaba, when he was able to pick up the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, he had to leave him, and when he went out, it just made this dynamic between Alaba and Camavinga just not work anywhere near as well as it needed to. This isn't helped by Luka Modric not picking up players, and it isn't helped by Toni Kroos just being completely overrun by these two central attacking midfielders. Generally, from a defensive perspective, Madrid were all over the place and just weren't able to get anything going. And this is down to the way that Man City were able to give those overloads. These overloads from John Stones and Rodri in the centre of the park meant that Man City could go forwards with a little bit more vigour and a little bit more attacking intensity. And really, I was extremely impressed by Bernardo Silva. I thought he had a sensational game. Obviously, he gets the 2 goals, but really his movement, his ability to drift in and out with or without the ball was just fantastic. Jack Grealish as well, really hugging that touchline. Look how wide he's making the pitch. And you can see that again from the likes of Bernardo Silva as well. Look how wide they are, spreading that Madrid back line. It's exactly what you want from an attacking perspective when you're going up against a team that is looking to stop you from playing. And really, from a Madrid perspective, they just didn't do anywhere near well enough to be able to get themselves into the match. And if we have a look at this Manchester City positioning, you would have thought they look a little bit deep here, but this is to combat the counter-attack that Vinicius Jr. threatened along with Karim Benzema. But really, they didn't have any counter-attacking threat at all, and that was down to the likes of John Stones and Rodri sitting next to each other, preventing any kind of transition from happening. This then allows this front four, we know this front four, to be able to go forwards. Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne staying close to each other, with Kevin De Bruyne, like I said, rotating round to that right-hand side to allow Bernardo Silva to cut inside. This is where the first goal comes from. The ball gets played inside, and it was just brilliant movement, brilliant play. Madrid could not handle them. Erling Haaland probably should have had 3 goals if it wasn't for Thibaut Courtois. And then you have the likes of Jack Grealish, who did a very good job staying wide, making sure that he made the pitch as big as possible for Manchester City, and that's where you saw the low, deep-lying runs of Ilkay Gundogan. Those blindsided runs that really hurt Madrid, and really it should have been so much more. Let's have a talk about Madrid for a second, because I was extremely disappointed. I was expecting a high-class, high-quality game, much like the first game in the Bernabeu. However, we did not see that. We did not see that at all. Look how narrow these players are. There is no width to their game at all. Remember what we spoke about with the likes of Bernardo Silva, with the likes of Jack Grealish? If we have a look at these, look at this. There is barely any width here whatsoever. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And then we can have a look at some other players, because it just doesn't work at all. Rodrigo, I have a little bit more sympathy for, because of the fact that he had to come into the centre of midfield once Carlo Ancelotti realised that what he was doing isn't working. Benzema was all over the place as well. There was no width to Madrid's play whatsoever. Barely were they able to get into the game in wide areas, and that was only down to Benzema making those runs into the channels, because it seemed like Vinicius or Rodrigo just didn't want to do it. And overall, this is where Madrid were really stifled. When they would try to transition, they failed to get down the wings. Now, this is down to Kyle Walker being an absolute monster when it comes to defending, and Vinicius Jr. just didn't know what to do. But it's also down to the way that Man City worked. And this is another side that I want to just highlight and note about Man City. They work so incredibly hard. It's absolutely crazy. And they outworked Madrid just as much as they outplayed them. They were fantastic. And really, They deserve it on that. Madrid failed to get out of first gear. They didn't put the effort in. They didn't put the dynamism in that they needed to against a team like Manchester City, and they paid for it. They paid for it handsomely. Finally, let's have a look at some of the stats. Man City dominated in nearly every single area. 2.58 expected goals to Madrid's 0.45, 59% ball possession. I believe it was around about the 70% mark in the first half. It was an absolute joke. Man City just tore them apart. 16 shots, 8 on target. Madrid only managed 3, and they were barely there at all. Toni Kroos hit the bar, yes, but apart from that and a couple of random chances, Madrid failed to create anything. 3 big chances missed from Man City. It could have been 7. Think about that. It could have been 7. And just from a passing perspective, Madrid just weren't able to get going. I mean, generally, their passing was woeful. It's better here in 83%, but I think it was around about 71%. It was just awful. Generally, the better team won. Madrid were outclassed, outthought. They were by far the worst team, and Manchester City fully deserved to go through. 54 duels won against Madrid's 39. They absolutely outclassed them in nearly every single department, which means that Manchester City set up a final with Inter Milan. Their hopes of a treble are coming to fruition, but can they do it? They have a couple more games left, and if we're honest, you wouldn't bet against them, would you? Thank you ever so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave the video with a like and subscribe if you're new. Come and be a part of the community. We would love to have you. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as well on the events of the match. How do you think Manchester City are going to do in the Champions League final? And the all-important question, are they winning that treble? Tell me what you think and why. I would love to hear from you, so please do get in touch. That is it from me for today. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, my friends, take care of yourselves and bye-bye.